I know.
I want to make sure it doesn't fall off in the middle of it.
That would be funny.
Yeah. No, well, maybe not. It'd be embarrassing for you.
Most of my life is an embarrassment,
No,
Bourdais, so... Look who's back. He got the job. I don't know how we're going to pay him.
Did I get hired?
I heard you and contracts are a bit tricky, so we might hold off on those negotiations. I know you like money. Sebastien, Bourdais, Marshall Pruett, we're here day 2 of the Roar. We're cheating a little bit. He was just giving me a hard time. The third and final session is tonight. It ends late. By the time I would get this done, y'all would be asleep. So
Yeah, this big boy needs his sleep. You know?
I do. So
Yeah,
after
that's the real point.
I know I need that and a diet, but so we're gonna do this after the second session. Seb, we're looking at all 3 classes. After the session that just ended now, we'll talk about your GTLM class. We'll talk about the prototypes. What impressed me the most was GT Daytona. The top 3 cars were separated by 0.05 of a second. That to me, with an Acura on top, we had a Porsche in there, we had a Lamborghini. Around here,
You buy it?
oh, absolutely. There was no attempts to slow or hide anything. I'll just say this, with all of the artful sandbagging that is going on, the fact that 3 teams could come within 0.05 of the fastest lap,
Quite
that's
remarkable.
precision.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the biggest story of the day for me is that I was told it was supposed to be warmer, and it ain't. Because just looking at you, there was no jacket yesterday, and there is one right now.
I put on a jacket.
It is freezing, and the wind picked up, and I mean, I don't know if it's any more representative than it was yesterday, but it's tricky, that's for sure.
So the nice thing on that topic was it was warmer to start the day. So woke up this morning, walked out of the hotel. It wasn't as freezing as yesterday, so that's great. But then the wind kicks up like we didn't have yesterday. So however you factor wind chill, it's cold. It's cold as balls.
I don't think the car actually minds, but we do.
Yeah, complaining here. So let's look at the prototype class. Among the other things that shock and surprise me, knowing that, again, we can call it sandbagging, we can call it performance monitoring. We've had the Cadillacs lead every single session so far in prototype. I would think someone from on high would say, oh, pump the brakes a little bit. Let's let some other folks be out in front, you know, catching the headlines. Does that surprise you at all? And it isn't specific to Cadillac. If any manufacturer led every session by this point, I think someone would say, hey, back it down.
Well, I don't know. I mean, honestly, they're just holding their pace. They're not, you know, blowing the lap times or anything. I think at the end of the day, they're just doing what, you know, they do, and they're just trying to improve their cars. And I think you could be surprised that they might actually already be in, you know, lap time management. Some, you know, maybe not as much as others. But, you know, it's always the story of the Roar. You know, who's got what and who's hiding more than others. And I think, obviously, the Caddy is the car that's the most developed. They've got a new power unit in the car, but at the end of the day, you know, they got a pretty well-sorted package, and they were really damn fast last year. And they haven't shown anything near that yet. So can almost guarantee that, you know, they could if they needed to. So I wouldn't be too worried for them. I think we'll see a real picture when the green flag drops, you know, as usual.
So we had Cadillac 1, 2, 3, 4 this session. Felipe Nasr in the Action Express Cadillac got down to a 36.9. Other Cadillacs were close. They were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 were the WEC P2s, Oreca 07s. Not surprised, the Orecas have been quick since they came out of the box.
It's a good car.
But then we look at one of the first Acuras, followed them. Then if we look at some of the other DPIs, we look down and I think about 11th or so, we had a Mazda, and right behind them, more or less on the same 10th, was a Nissan. It's another thing too, where I spoke with Mazda Motorsports Director John Doonan. He said they were, I don't want to say turn it up, but they were going to push a lot harder this session. They did get within about 0.8 of the fastest Cadillac. They're still about halfway down the list.
Yeah,
so.
you can see they're creeping. Like they started a real slow. Now they're, you know, starting to push a little bit. And like you said, I think we'll have maybe a better picture tomorrow when, you know, hopefully the drawing out process actually you know, works. But it's, you know, it's still only an incentive for garage and pit position. So I don't know how much people are going to want to expose themselves for that. But it's going to sure be interesting.
Speaking of interesting, we ended yesterday with both Porsche's fastest. Some little Australian guy who works for your team, Briscoe, ended up fastest. Per Guidi in the Risi Ferrari was second fastest, relatively close to you guys. You were third. Tell me about your day in GTLM, and also tell me about how much tinkering can you do on a day like today where the ambient might be up a little bit, but not vastly different from yesterday.
Yeah, like we said yesterday, really just try and check the car in any conditions. Never know what will be there for the race, and we're still there. So, discovering, trying different things, seeing what works in those temperatures and whatnot. We have much better reads and more experience on other temperature ranges, so it's still interesting to see what the differences are between those circumstances. And the 67 guys are really happy with their car. We found a little brake issue on our car, which really helped us kind of feel a little better and a bit more consistent.
Was it from a depth of braking or settling the car?
Yeah, no, just a real brake system issue. Like we had air that was like playing with us, and we couldn't quite figure out. We had a kind of a moving target, something that you'd get a lock every now and then. You couldn't quite figure it out, so that's gone, which is always nice. It really helps when you can hit the brakes to get the tires up to temp. So really, just kind of going through the list. I think they're so happy that we're probably going to try their setup at some point.
Look at that.
Because that'd be dumb not to, and see what we got. Just keep learning.
Last question for you. So we're here, you guys are working, we're all working, it's a busy 3-day event, but this is also annual, a pretty cool thing where in turn 3, Boy Scouts of America have a huge gathering. What's it like coming here knowing that you've got work to do, but it's a lot of families, a lot of young fans? Do you like the fact that you can, without the pressure of a race weekend, sign autographs, have some fun?
Yeah, honestly, I don't recall seeing that many people around this place at the Roar, almost as big a crowd as we get sometimes for the 24, which is quite impressive. So I don't know what they've done different. It's not free admission either. It's $15 a head. So I mean, it's quite impressive to draw that many people, on a Saturday like that. And it's damn cold, as we know. So you got to be pretty passionate about it to come out, and they did. And it's just great. The whole parking lot's full. I was around this morning. I couldn't believe it. So it's just great news. Hopefully they all show back up for the race and some more.
I did have one other thing pop into my head. So since we are cheating here, it's me cheating, he's just going along with it, and we're doing this after the second session. It's going to be very frosty later tonight when you're in the car in the dark. Are there any vents you can open up to keep you warm? Do you, I don't want to say...
you can close everything if you want, but it gets pretty hot in those cars when you close the vent. So no, it's actually just great. We don't have to run the AC. You just let the air force, just kind of flow the ambient air, and it's very pleasant. But no, you don't close anything. You let it flow. It's nice. I don't like to get hot, anyways.
He's good at this. So the problem is, if we're talking about how to pay me, that it's food, that's obvious. I need some ideas on how to pay this guy, because I don't have any money, but he deserves something. So anyways.
Sorry, I'm new to the job, so that's how you work your way into it, right?
Bourdais, the intern. I like that. All right, folks, we're done here from day 2 at the Road Before the 24. We're actually probably not going to have one for Sunday, because I need to catch an early flight home to California, because I love my wife more than you, and she's a lot prettier, so I just want to get out of here, man.
That's okay. I'll take that. See you next time.